Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really embarking on quite an immersive exploration, I think, into what it truly means to live awake, you know,
Right.
right here in the now.
hmm
Our mission really is to untangle these pathways to genuine presence, that sense of inner freedom, and, well, radical acceptance.
And we've pulled together some incredible wisdom, haven't we, from really transformative contemporary texts.
Absolutely. We've got Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now, which is just profound. Michael Singer's The Untethered Soul, deeply insightful. And Tara Brach's really compassionate work, Radical Acceptance.
Yeah, wonderful books. But we're not stopping there. We're also weaving in perspectives from, much older traditions, too.
That's right, like the Upanishads, A Course in Miracles, Conversations with God, even the Bhagavad Gita.
The idea is to bring you a really comprehensive, but also hopefully immediately applicable understanding. How to quiet that mental static, that noise. Yeah.
Yeah, and step into the richness of the present moment. Think of this maybe as your shortcut to really cultivating presence,
Yeah.
understanding the ego, which can be so tricky,
It really can.
and ultimately unlocking that deep, lasting sense of inner freedom. So yeah, let's begin. Let's unpack this incredible journey together. Okay, so let's start with something I think everyone experiences, probably far more often than we even realize. That that incessant inner voice.
Yeah. The chat.
Yeah, the chatter, the one that's always commentating, judging, planning things, playing replays of arguments or even arguing with imaginary people inside your head.
Right. It's like having this miniature, often quite critical podcast running constant.
Exactly. A judgmental podcast in your brain 24/7,
Oh.
and you're the only listener who can't find the skip button.
It's such a relatable description because it's just so universal, isn't it? But what's really fascinating, I think, is how few people actually recognize the sheer power, the pervasive nature of this internal monologue. Well, Eckhart Tolle in The Power, now he calls it an involuntary thought process,
Yeah.
a constant internal dialogue that, and this is the key part, most people don't even realize they have the power to stop.
Right, they just assume that's them.
Well, that's who they are.
Precisely. And this voice, as he details it, is just ceaselessly commenting, speculating, judging, comparing, complaining, liking, disliking. It just goes on and on.
Wow. An echo chamber.
Completely. It's
Yeah.
constantly reviving past events, often, with regret or maybe longing, or it's rehearsing and imagining future situations. And how often does that veer into worry, anxiety?
Right. All the time. The what ifs.
Exactly. And it's not just like an innocent narrator, is it? Tolle really hammers this point home. This voice belongs to our conditioned mind.
Conditioned. How so?
Well, it's filtered through everything, right?
Yeah.
All our past experiences, our upbringing, cultural conditioning, our personal hurts, our triumphs, everything. So instead of experiencing the present moment as it truly is, raw, unfiltered, we're perpetually seeing it through this distorted lens. A lens of memory, projection, ingrained patterns.
Yeah. And it's no wonder he sometimes calls this internal commentary a person's own worst enemy. It attacks, it punishes, it literally drains us of vital energy.
Wow. Imagine that. Your own worst critic, your personal source of inner turmoil, living right there, constantly whispering in your ear. It's kind of exhausting just thinking about it.
It is. And Michael Singer in The Untethered Soul, he expands on this in a really profound way, I think. He explains how this mental voice doesn't just comment on the world, it actively narrates the outside world.
Narrates it.
Yeah, it constructs what he calls a personal presentation of the world according to you. So this means you're not actually encountering the, let's say, stark, unfiltered experience of what is really out there, but rather you're getting a carefully curated version tailored to you. Singer calls this mental manipulation. It's a process where reality gets buffered, adjusted, so it kind of fits together inside your mind, making sense according to your existing beliefs and frameworks.
So it confirms our biases, in a way.
In a big way. And the crucial insight here is that your consciousness, your awareness, often experiences your mental model of reality, not reality itself. It's like living in a perfectly rendered but ultimately fictional simulation of the world, created by your own mind.
That's a huge distinction, isn't it?
Yeah.
Our consciousness isn't directly engaging with the world. It's engaging with our highly filtered, personally narrated version of it.
Exactly.
So you might think you're just looking at a tree, but your mind immediately jumps in with layers. Oh, that's a beautiful tree. I wish my garden had one. Or that reminds me of the oak outside my childhood home. Or even, look at all those leaves. Someone's going to have to rake those up.
Right. It's rarely just the tree.
It's the tree plus this whole narrative, a whole set of judgments, associations, memories. And if we spend our days lost in this mental model, are we ever really here, truly present?
Well, this brings us to a really critical insight for you, our listener. The invitation here isn't necessarily to silence this voice because, let's face it, that can feel like an impossible battle.
Yeah, trying to stop thoughts just seems to make more thoughts.
It often does, but the invitation is to simply notice it. Just
Yeah.
become aware of it. Maybe tune in for a moment right now. Can you detect that continuous internal commentary, that background hum of thought?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe reflect. How much of your day do you suspect is spent inside this mental model, rather than experiencing the vibrant, unfiltered present directly? What subtle ways might this incessant inner voice be shaping your perception? Perhaps causing that quiet undercurrent of unhappiness or just preventing you from fully embracing the moment.
Just noticing it.
Yeah, simply observing it without judgment can be the very first step to loosening its grip. You might even find a sort of playful curiosity in witnessing its antics. Oh, there it goes again.
Right. And often what goes hand in hand with this mental monologue, or maybe even drives it, are our emotions.
Absolutely.
We tend to think of emotions as purely mental states, just feelings in our heads. But there's so much more. They have this profound physical dimension.
Yes.
And critically, they carry the accumulated weight of our past experiences, often leading to these deep-seated, maybe subtle or sometimes really overt feelings of inadequacy, that quiet sense of not enough.
Eckhart Tolle illuminates this mind-body connection with really striking clarity. He says that emotion arises at the place where mind and body meet.
Where mind and body meet.
Yeah. He describes it as the body's reaction to your mind, or maybe a reflection of your mind in the body. Think about it. An attack thought isn't just some abstract concept floating around. It immediately generates anger. And that anger is a physiological response your body literally readies itself to fight.
Mm-hmm. Heart races, muscles tense.
Exactly. And a threat thought, similarly, causes fear, which manifests as maybe a contraction or a bracing in the body. These aren't just subjective feelings. Toll points out they trigger tangible biochemical changes throughout our system. That is the physical aspect of emotion.
It's a deep feedback loop then. Thought creates emotion, emotion shows up physically.
And the physical sensation can then trigger more thoughts.
Yeah. So anger isn't merely an idea. It's your muscles tensing, your heart rate quickening, maybe a flush of heat in your face, a tightness in your jaw.
Right.
And fear isn't just a thought. It's that knot in your stomach, shallow breathing, a tightness across your chest, maybe a feeling of coldness.
Very physical.
Right.
And if we're not conscious of our underlying thought patterns, our emotions often provide the most direct, the most visceral clues to what's truly going on inside us. They demand our attention, don't they?
Yeah.
Even when our mind tries to rationalize or ignore them.
Yeah, the body doesn't lie, as they say.
It really doesn't. And building on this, Tara Brach in Radical Acceptance, she highlights how our wanting self, that part of us always seeking something, is constantly, maybe unconsciously striving for emotional survival and well-being.
Makes sense.
But when our fundamental inherent needs, the need to feel loved, safe, understood, or frustrated, which, let's be honest, is a pretty universal human experience to some degree, it can easily lead to this pervasive, often unconscious cycle of fear and shame. And this is where the physical and mental intertwine in a particularly, insidious way. We tend to disconnect from and numb our body, often without even realizing we're doing it.
How does that happen? Numbing in the body.
Well, maybe by getting lost in obsessive thinking, self-judgment, distractions, anything to avoid feeling the discomfort. And this cycle, Brock powerfully argues, tragically deepens an identity as someone fundamentally deprived, isolated, and unworthy.
Wow. So our emotional history isn't just a story we tell ourselves.
No, it's etched into our very physical experience. It shapes our sense of self at a really deep, maybe even cellular level.
And Michael Singer, he offers an ancient lens for this, right? These stored emotional residues.
Yes, he refers to these stored entropy patterns using the Sanskrit term samskara. And he explains that these aren't just passive memories. They are actively programmed with the specific details of the event that could not pass through.
Could not pass through. What does that mean exactly?
It means the energy of that experience, the emotional charge, the narrative around it, the physical sensation. It wasn't fully processed or released at the time it happened. It got stuck.
Ah, okay.
So if you experience, say, a moment of intense jealousy because of something specific, that entire detailed data about the event, its unique vibration, its nature, your sensitivity level at the time gets stored in that samskara, like an energetic file.
Got it.
And these past unresolved impressions are precisely what cause those frequent, sometimes bewildering changes in the state of our heart. They lead to what he calls emotional blockages over time. It's like emotional sediment building up, literally affecting your inner energetic space and influencing your reactions in the present.
That makes so much sense.
Right.
Explains why we sometimes overreact to things.
Exactly. It triggers that stored energy. So for you, as you reflect on this, maybe consider your own emotional responses. Where do you typically feel them in your body? Is there a particular tightness, a familiar churning, a sensation you've almost gotten used to?
Mm.
Can you begin to gently recognize how past experiences, those moments where emotional energy could not pass through, or perhaps those fundamental unmet needs for connection or understanding might be subtly, yet powerfully contributing to your current emotional state? Maybe even your physical state.
It's a deep inquiry.
It is. And it doesn't demand immediate answers. It's more about fostering a gentle, persistent self-awareness. What shifts might start to happen if you simply acknowledge those physical manifestations without judgment, just noticing, there's that tightness again.
Right. And often subtly kind of orchestrating much of this mental and emotional noise we find. The ego pulling the strings.
The ego, yes.
It's incredibly adept, isn't it, at convincing us it's looking out for our best interests, offering us power or control or distinct identity.
The protector.
Yeah, the protector. But in reality, it's frequently diminishing our true independence or true connection. Its core agenda, as sources like A Course in Miracles really illuminate, seems to be fundamentally about separation.
That's a critical distinction.
Yeah.
A Course in Miracles is pretty unequivocal about it. The ego always attacks on behalf of separation. It says the ego is totally confused about reality itself, yet somehow perfectly certain of its purpose.
Which is?
Which is to establish and maintain this illusion of autonomy, a separate, independent self. And importantly, the Course says the ego does not wish you to realize that you are afraid of it.
Why not?
Because acknowledging that fear would, in the ego's logic, diminish your independence and weaken your power. Its entire claim to your allegiance, its whole sales pitch, is built on the promise that it can give power to you.
Right. Listen to me, I'll make you strong, keep you safe.
Exactly. But here's the profound paradox, the great irony. By accepting this false power, this power derived from separation, you are actually belittling yourself and depriving yourself of power. Your true inherent power, which comes from connection, from being. And fear, in this radical framework, isn't a response to external threat. It's simply a symptom of your own deep sense of loss. A misperception, really. A misunderstanding of your true interconnected nature.
So the ego essentially tricks us. It says, be strong, stand alone, protect yourself, implying that strength comes from building walls, from individual control, from distinguishing ourselves from others. But beneath that apparent strength, there's often this deep, maybe unconscious fear. Fear of loss, a sense of lack, maybe a belief in fundamental incompleteness.
Yes. And if we can truly reinterpret fear, not as the signal of an external threat that we must fight or flee from, but more as an internal affirmation of some underlying belief in separation or loss, it dramatically loses its perceived usefulness, its power over us. It stops being a command, be afraid, and becomes more like an invitation for deeper understanding. Fear is here. What belief about separation is this pointing to?
That's a huge shift.
Yeah. It is, and Conversations with God adds another fascinating layer to this understanding of duality and fear. It suggests that perhaps the greatest gift God ever gave to itself was the very creation of relativity and duality.
Relativity.
Yeah.
Like good and bad, light and dark.
Exactly. Concepts like love and fear, light and dark, up and down. This duality, this very existence of opposites, is potentially what allows love to be truly experienced, understood, and consciously chosen. Without fear, how could we fully comprehend love? It gives it context.
Interesting point. Contrast.
Yeah, contrast. And when it comes to pain, the text offers a pretty startling reframe. Pain, it states, is not an inherent state of being, not some external punishment. It is simply a result of wrong thought, or more precisely, a judgment you have made about a thing.
Whoa. So pain is a judgment.
That's the implication, which suggests an immense, often unrecognized personal agency. The pain we experience isn't necessarily an external infliction, but potentially an internal creation, often fueled by the ego's pervasive judgmental framework. It shifts the entire locus of control from out there to in here.
Okay. So if we really sit with that, for you, our listener, this invites us to maybe ponder, how might your own intense desire for control, or even that fierce, almost instinctual need for independence, How might that actually be driven by a subtle underlying fear?
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps a deep-seated, maybe unconscious belief in separation. Separation from others or from a larger interconnected reality. And what unconscious judgments might you be holding on to? Judgments about yourself, others, circumstances of your life? Judgments that might be inadvertently creating inner pain rather than alleviating it?
It's a powerful line of
Yeah.
inquiry.
And it's not about self-blame, is it? It's about a potentially liberating inquiry into the roots of our own disquiet. It challenges us to look within, not to find fault, but maybe to uncover the mechanics of our own suffering, and hopefully by doing so, find a path to release. Okay, so if this complex mental landscape with its constant chatter and the ego's subtle games really forms the root of our disquiet,
Mm-hmm.
what's the way out? What's the path forward?
And the antidote.
Yeah, the antidote. And the consistent thread running through all these profound teachings seems to be the cultivation of presence, or what we might call stepping into the now.
Absolutely.
And it seems to all start with what Eckhart Tolle so powerfully calls the art of watching and disengaging from the mind.
Tolle's concept of watching the thinker is just foundational here, isn't it? A real cornerstone for anyone seeking inner freedom. And it's not about trying to stop thoughts, which, as we said, can be exhausting and often futile.
Right.
Instead, it's the practice of simply observing that incessant voice in your head, not as you, not as your identity, but as a detached, maybe even curious witness.
Like watching clouds drift by.
Exactly like that. And he offers this beautiful paradox. To know that you are not present is a great success. That knowing is presence.
Say that again.
To know that you are not present is a great success. That knowing is presence. Think about that for a moment, simply realizing you've been lost in thought, maybe for minutes, maybe hours. Even for just a split second, that moment of realization is presence. You've momentarily disidentified and returned.
Ah, okay. The awareness itself is the presence.
Yes, that gentle act of observation helps you reclaim your consciousness from the mind. It gives you, as Tolle says, the power to stop those involuntary thought processes, not by force, but by withdrawing your attention, withdrawing your identification from them.
It's subtle, but that feels like a profoundly revolutionary shift.
Right.
Moves us away from suppressing thoughts or judging ourselves for having them,
Which is so common.
and instead invites us to see them for what they are. Just passing mental events, not defining truths, not an accurate reflection of who we really are.
Exactly. And Michael Singer echoes this perfectly. He states that to attain true inner freedom, you must be able to objectively watch your problems instead of being lost in them.
Objectively watch them.
Yeah. He emphasizes that the distinction between the consciousness and the object of consciousness is like night and day. The consciousness, the pure awareness that is fundamentally you, it simply watches it come and go. It sees what's happening inside your thoughts, your emotions, your internal dramas, just as easily as it sees what's going on outside, like the world around you. This ability to witness, to create that internal space between you and the thought, that's the key.
Okay.
And this is where Singer offers both a crucial warning and, I think, a really liberating instruction. He cautions, quite strongly actually, do not ever fight your mind, you will never win.
Never win, why not?
Well, if you engage in battle with your mind, he explains, you'll either be defeated right then and there, or maybe the suppressed thought will just inevitably return, perhaps even stronger, later on. It's like pushing a beach ball underwater.
Right, it just pops back up.
Exactly. So instead of fighting, he advises, simply just don't participate in it.
Don't participate.
Yeah. When your mind starts its familiar loops, trying to fix the world, criticizing yourself or others, rehearsing old arguments, simply make a conscious choice not to listen. Don't feed it the energy. Don't get drawn into the storyline.
Just let it play out without getting involved.
Yes. And this aligns perfectly with what Sam Harris talks about in Waking Up. He says the deepest goal of spirituality is freedom from the illusion of the self. And this freedom involves recognizing the nature of thoughts, seeing them as these transient phenomena, not our identity, and thereby awakening from the dream of being merely ourselves, meaning the self we've constructed out of our thoughts and conditioning.
Okay, so this sounds great in theory, watching, not participating. But how do we practically apply this in our busy, everyday lives? It feels like the mind is always grabbing us.
It does, doesn't it? But Singer offers some fantastic, immediately actionable trigger points for this.
Trigger point.
Yeah, little moments in the day you can use as reminders. He suggests, for example, that every time you get into your car, as you're settling into the seat, just pause. Stop. Take a moment, maybe a conscious breath, and just remember that you're literally spinning on a planet in the middle of empty space. Get some perspective.
Right. Zoom out.
Zoom out. Then gently remind yourself that for the next few moments at least, you're not going to get caught up in your own melodrama. Whatever mental story or emotional charge is swirling, just decide, I'm not going to play the mind game right now.
You can do that before getting out of the car too, right? Or before a meeting.
Absolutely. Before you get out, before you pick up the phone, before you open a door, even before you sit down for a meal. It's not about radically changing anything externally. It's about establishing this internal stance of simply noticing that you notice.
Noticing that you notice.
Yeah. It's like taking a quick internal inventory, checking in, what's happening in my heart, my mind, is there tension in my shoulders, and then consciously choosing to center yourself behind the mind in that space of pure awareness.
Okay, I like that. Using everyday moments as anchors.
Exactly. And this profound act of non-participation, of witnessing, it naturally leads us to another powerful concept: radical acceptance and surrender as genuine inner solutions.
Radical acceptance. That sounds challenging.
It can be, because instead of battling reality, whether it's the external circumstances of our lives or our own tumultuous internal states, a truly profound and liberating shift occurs when we learn to accept them unconditionally.
And Tara Brach's radical acceptance is built right on this idea, isn't it?
Completely. She describes a practice of pausing right in the midst of those intense feelings and not do or say anything. Just pause.
That feels like the hardest part. Our instinct is to react, fix, avoid.
It absolutely is. But she encourages us, with mindful attention, to investigate and discover what our moment-to-moment experience of pain actually is, without immediately slapping a label on it: good, bad, wrong, right. Instead, we just notice how the sensations flow and change. Where is it? What does it feel like? Is it moving?
Observing it with curiosity, almost.
Yes, curiosity and kindness. She shares this deeply moving story of a client, Sarah, who had this huge breakthrough just by realizing deep down, it's not my fault. It's never been my fault. Releasing years of ingrained self-blame for her fears and compulsions. It wasn't an intellectual thing. It was a felt realization of her inherent goodness despite her suffering.
Wow.
And another client, Daniel, learned to extend compassion to ourselves, something many of us struggle with, by literally placing a hand on his heart during difficult moments and simply saying, I care about this suffering.
Just acknowledging it with kindness.
Yeah. That simple, revolutionary act of treating ourselves with tenderness, with kindness, begins to undo a lifetime of perhaps harsh self-judgment or internalized aversive messages. It's an act of radical self-love, really.
It sounds so simple yet profound.
It is. And Eckhart Tolle, in The Power of Now, he calls this same principle surrender. He describes it as the simple but profound wisdom of yielding to rather than opposing the flow of life.
Yielding, not opposing.
Exactly. And this is crucial. Surrender doesn't mean passively giving up or becoming lethargic or, accepting abuse or injustice. That's not it at all.
Okay, good distinction.
It means accepting the present moment unconditionally and without reservation. It means relinquishing that subtle yet pervasive inner resistance to what is, that constant inner no to reality, that fight against what is, which creates what Tolle calls a pain gap.
A pain gap.
Yeah, the gap between what is and what your mind insists should be. When things inevitably go wrong or simply aren't as we prefer them to be, surrender is the practice that immediately frees you from mind identification and thus reconnects you with being. Resistance in this context is the mind in action, creating suffering. Surrender is the door out of that suffering.
And Michael Singer ties this together beautifully, doesn't he? Talking about inner versus outer solutions.
He really does. He states that the only permanent solution to your problems is to go inside and let go of the part of you that seems to have so many problems with reality.
Let go of the part of you that has the problem, not change the reality itself, necessarily.
Exactly. This is a fundamental transformative shift from what he calls outer solution consciousness, where we're constantly trying to rearrange external circumstances, people, events to make ourselves feel okay, to inner solution consciousness.
Right. Instead of trying to control and manipulate the whole outside world.
You go within and release the internal resistance, the judgments, the clinging that causes the problem in the first place. It's an act of profound self-empowerment, taking responsibility for your inner state.
Okay. So reflecting on all this, for you listening, maybe consider, how often do you find yourself resisting what's happening? Both internally, your thoughts, difficult feelings, body sensations, and externally, life circumstances, other people's behavior, how events unfold.
That inner no.
Yeah. What might it truly be like to approach a difficult feeling not with judgment or avoidance or that desperate need to fix it immediately, but with a deep sense of curiosity? maybe even compassion.
Perhaps, like Daniel, just placing a hand on your heart and acknowledging, okay, I care about the suffering that's here right now.
What a different world might open up if we stopped fighting against reality and instead, maybe, embraced it as a teacher, even the difficult parts.
A profound shift indeed. And as we cultivate this presence, this radical acceptance, we begin to discover an often overlooked yet incredibly powerful gateway to simply being our own physical body.
Ah, yes, the body, not just a vehicle.
Not just a vehicle carrying our heads around, it's a direct, immediate route to present moment awareness.
Yeah.
And potentially to a deeper, more profound connection to universal energy.
Eckhart Tolle is quite emphatic about
Oh,
this.
very. He urges us, don't just think with your head, think with your whole body.
Think with your whole body. What does that feel like?
Well, what he means is to become really aware of the entire inner energy field of the body. And critically, don't think about it, feel it. Feel the aliveness within.
Okay. Shifting from thought to sensation.
Exactly. This seemingly simple act of shifting attention from the mind's chatter to the subtle sensations within the body is a powerful way to reclaim consciousness from thought. He even suggests applying it when listening to someone.
Listening with your body.
Yeah, don't just listen with your mind, processing their words intellectually. Instead, listen with your whole body. Feel your own inner energy field as you listen. This, he says, takes attention away from thinking and creates a still space that enables you to truly listen without the mind interfering.
Wow. So you're not just hearing words, you're sensing something deeper.
Precisely. And in that stillness, in that more profound connection, you might begin to recognize the being of the other person underneath the words, which leads, he says, to the realization of oneness, which is love. At the deepest level, beyond form and thought, you realize you are one with all that is.
That resonates so powerfully with ancient wisdom traditions too, doesn't it?
Absolutely, across cultures. The Upanishads, for instance, speak to this directly. They declare, the one that breathes with your breath is yourself that is within everything.
Beautiful. It elaborates that the self, the Atman, consists of this. It consists of speech, mind, and breath, and ultimately, everything is based in breath. This isn't just, pretty poetry. It suggests this fundamental interconnected relationship between our individual physical existence, our consciousness, and the universal life force that animates everything. The breath, the body, become direct conduits to the universal.
The sacred, maybe.
Yeah, the sacred. And we see this expressed in mystical traditions too. Saint Teresa of Avila, in her amazing work, Interior Castle, she describes an inner movement that proceeds from the center of the soul and awakens the faculties.
An inner movement.
Yes. And this movement leads to this tender, profound love for the Lord, a desire to give praise. But what's critical is how she distinguishes it. She clearly states it proceeds neither from the thought nor from the memory, nor can it be supposed that the soul has had any part in it.
So it's not mental, it's deeper. It's a direct, inner felt experience that transcends the intellect, a visceral connection to something beyond the conceptual mind, the body as this living, breathing doorway to a deeper spiritual reality.
Okay. So right now, maybe as you're listening to our voices,
Yeah.
can you try a little subtle experiment? Can you gently shift your attention away from the thoughts that might be swirling, just for a moment, and simply ground yourself in your breath? Feel the sensation of air entering and leaving your body.
Just the physical feeling.
Yeah. Or perhaps tune into the subtle sensations of your inner body, maybe a tingling, a warmth, a general sense of aliveness, however faint. What happens if you shift your attention from the stream of thoughts, even for just a few seconds, to this direct physical experience?
Notice the shift.
Yeah. How does this simple shift change your state of being? Maybe allowing you to access a deeper, more immediate sense of presence. It's not just a concept to think about. It's an experience waiting for you in every single moment. A tangible anchor to the now.
And as we practice this, watching the mind without judgment, radically accepting what is, grounding ourselves in the wisdom of the body, a truly magnificent transformation can begin to unfold.
The payoff, perhaps?
You could say that. The fruit of this awakening is often described as this deep, pervasive sense of freedom. A freedom that comes from releasing that tenacious grip of pain, the grip of the past, thereby allowing life energy to flow more vibrantly without all those obstructions we talked about earlier.
That sounds incredibly appealing, releasing the grip of pain.
It is, and this point is absolutely critical for anyone on this kind of path. Eckhart Tolle makes a very powerful, almost stark assertion here. He says, as long as you make an identity for yourself out of the pain, you cannot become free of it.
Identify with the pain.
Yes, he introduces the concept of the pain body. He describes it as an energy field, almost like an entity that has become temporarily lodged in your inner
An
space.
entity, like a
Uh-huh.
separate thing.
Almost like that, functionally. This pain body, he explains, is essentially life energy that has become trapped. Trapped by unresolved emotions, unacknowledged traumas, and crucially, our persistent identification with past suffering. I am someone who was wronged. I am someone who suffers.
Right. Defining ourselves by our wounds.
Exactly. A victim identity, he explains, is fundamentally the belief that the past is more powerful, more real, more defining than the present moment is. But, and here's the hopeful part, by becoming conscious of this attachment to pain, by recognizing the pain body as something distinct from who you truly are, you immediately begin to break its hold.
Awareness breaks the identification.
Yes. This trapped energy, once locked away, can now be liberated. It can start flowing freely again, contributing to a far more vibrant, expansive, and alive experience of life, rather than weighing you down.
Wow, that's such a potent image. Trapped life energy being liberated. It helps understand why sometimes we feel so drained, so burdened, even without a clear external reason.
It does. And Michael Singer, building on this, he perfectly captures the profound liberation that comes from this release. He states with incredible directness, when you are comfortable with pain passing through you, you will be free.
Comfortable with pain, that sounds like a high bar.
It does, initially, but think about why. He explains that then the world will no longer have the power to bother you so much, because the worst the world can do is to hit the pain stored within you.
Ah, if there's no stored pain to hit.
Or if you're no longer afraid of it being hit, if you no longer cling to that pain, if you're no longer terrified of its presence, if you can allow it to simply move through you like a passing weather system,
Yeah.
you become truly fundamentally free. And then, he says, you will walk through this world more vibrant and alive than ever before, feeling everything, yes, but at a deeper level, and realizing that there is this ocean of love behind all of this fear and pain, this inner force, this liberated life energy, then sustains you. It fundamentally replaces your old, draining relationship with inner pain and disturbance.
That sounds like true freedom.
It really does. And this profound inner freedom, this liberation from the pain body, it finds echoes in ancient spiritual wisdom too. The Bhagavad Gita, for instance, offers guidance like, without being attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty. For by working without attachment, one attains the supreme.
Acting without attachment to the result.
Exactly. What does Krishna consciousness mean in this context? It points towards cultivating a state where your actions are performed not out of personal desire, I want this outcome, or fear of failure, or craving specific results, but rather with a higher sense of duty, or service, or selfless purpose. The phrase satisfaction of Keenan's senses can be seen as a metaphor for aligning with divine will, or universal harmony, or just acting for the good of the whole. And a person in this state is described as pure in his existence and always free, even while being deeply engaged in the sensory affairs of the world. They're acting, participating fully in life, but they're not accumulating karmic burden or spiritual entanglement because their motivation transcends the ego's demands for personal gain or loss. It's a liberation from the binding effects of action itself.
So acting from a different place inside.
Precisely. So for you, our listener, that invites a really powerful self-inquiry. How much of your current identity, your sense of who you are, is perhaps still tied up with past hurts, old narratives, long-held grudges, perceived limitations?
Stuff we carry around.
Yeah. What would it truly mean, maybe in a deep experiential way, to allow pain, whether it's physical, mental, or emotional, to simply pass through you, like the weather? Rather than holding on to it, identifying with it, allowing it to define you, or giving it permission to dictate your present experience.
Yeah.
What kind of vibrant, unburdened living might open up if you gently, yet firmly, started to release that grip? Just imagine the possibilities.
Yeah, imagine. And as we move beyond these limiting confines of the ego and the heavy burden of past pain, you mentioned something else starts to happen. Our capacity for love changes.
Yes, something truly miraculous often begins to happen. Our capacity for love doesn't just increase a bit, it seems to expand exponentially. It starts to feel universal.
Yeah.
We begin to recognize our inherent oneness, our profound interconnectedness with all existence.
Wow. Universal love.
Eckhart Tolle speaks so beautifully to this transformation. He explains that when the pain body has been transmuted, when its trapped energy is released and transformed, and when you are no longer identified with mind and mental positions, Your relationships with others are fundamentally rewired. They start to reflect something different.
What do they reflect?
They begin to reflect the love that you feel deep within, a love that comes directly with the realization of your oneness with all that is. And crucially, he calls this the love that has no opposite.
There's love that has no opposite. What does that mean?
It's a profound statement, isn't it? It implies it's not a transactional love, I love you because. It's not a love that depends on conditions being met. It's not a love that can flip into its opposite, like hate or indifference.
Yeah.
It implies a pure, unconditional, pervasive love that is perhaps at the very fabric of reality itself. A love that simply is because it recognizes the same essential being, the same consciousness in all beings. It dissolves the illusion of separation that breeds conditional love and its opposites.
That's a beautiful and challenging ideal.
It is. And Course in Miracles presents a simile, yet maybe even more radical vision of this love. It suggests that if we raise what fear conceals to clear-cut, unequivocal predominance, meaning if we consciously bring into awareness and choose the love that fear tries to hide, then fear itself becomes meaningless. The veil, it says, that you have drawn across the face of love has disappeared. And here's the really transformative part, I think. When you learn to see your brother, meaning anyone, as his father's mind shows him to you, meaning to see beyond the egoic projections, the faults, the perceived sins, and instead recognize the divine essence, the inherent innocence within them.
Oh.
When you do that, you reveal his sinlessness, which then, quite miraculously, pictures yours. It reflects back your own inherent goodness.
So seeing the good in others reveals it in ourselves.
Exactly. It's a fundamental shift in perception. Moving from judgment, which separates, to recognition of inherent goodness, which unites. It's an undoing of judgment itself at its root.
Powerful.
And conversations with God powerfully reinforces this boundless nature of divine love and connection. It states quite simply, compassion never ends, love never stops, patience never runs out in God's world. It paints this picture of an infinite, unwavering source of unconditional acceptance.
That's comforting.
It is. It also offers that radical reinterpretation of human conflict we touched on earlier, emphasizing that no one truly desires to hurt another, and that attack is always a call for help.
A call for help.
Yeah. It suggests that behind every hurtful action, every expression of anger or unkindness, lies a deeper pain, a profound unmet need, or a desperate cry for assistance or understanding. This radically reframes how we might respond to conflict, moving from reactivity and defense to potentially empathy and understanding.
That changes everything in an argument.
It could. Furthermore, it posits that the greatest gift God ever gave to you is relationship itself. Because in its view, God created relativity, duality, interactions specifically to know itself through diverse experience. So our relationships become these sacred paths for self-discovery, mirrors reflecting back this expanding universal love, or the places where love is blocked and needs healing.
Wow. Relationships as a spiritual path.
Absolutely. So for you, our listener, this prompts a deeply transformative question, perhaps. How might your daily interactions with your loved ones, your colleagues, even strangers on the street, how might they transform if you approach others with the, let's say, unwavering assumption of their inherent goodness, rather than immediately focusing on their faults, their perceived shortcomings, or their egoic displays?
That's a practice in itself.
It really is. Can you begin to even envision what it would be like to experience a love that truly has no opposite? A love that flows freely, effortlessly, simply because it's rooted in the profound realization of oneness, not in the illusion of separation. What doors might that open in your life, and maybe in the lives of those you touch?
It's a lot to ponder.
Definitely.
And finally, it seems like a true awakening in the now. A life lived in this kind of profound presence and genuine freedom. It fundamentally alters our relationship with even the most universal and sometimes intimidating human experiences. Life itself and its ultimate counterpart, death.
The big ones.
Yeah. When we commit to living free from that inner resistance we talked about, we seem to gain the capacity to meet even death with a profound sense of acceptance, maybe understanding, seeing it not just as an end to be feared, but maybe as a deep teacher, a final, poignant reminder to live fully.
Michael Singer offers such a powerful directive on this front. He says, quite simply, do not let anything that happens in life be important enough that you're willing to close your heart over it.
Don't close your heart.
Yeah. Instead, he advises, relax into the experience, whatever it is, and be there with it. Embrace life with all your heart and soul. Life's flow, he explains, with all its exciting, challenging events, the ups, the downs, the unexpected twists and turns, It's not an obstacle course to be endured, it's a precious gift.
A gift, even the hard stuff.
Especially the hard stuff, potentially, because it creates tremendous growth. The only reason our hearts and minds might not be open and expansive enough to encompass reality, he suggests, is because you resist, you fight it.
Ah, resistance again.
Always comes back to resistance. When you consciously choose to stop resisting reality, a remarkable shift can occur. What once looked like stressful problems will begin to look like the stepping stones of your spiritual journey. Every challenge becomes an opportunity for profound growth when it's met with an open, accepting heart rather than a closed, fearful one.
Okay, stepping stones, not obstacles. I like that.
And this radical openness, this profound acceptance, it extends even to the ultimate unknown, death itself. Singer boldly proclaims, "Death is a great teacher."
A great teacher, most people see it as the enemy.
Right. He invites us to reconsider our cultural aversion and deep-seated fear. He says, death is your friend. Death is your liberator. He urges us, almost pleads, for God's sakes, do not be afraid of death. Try to learn what it's saying to you.
And what is it saying to us, according to Singer?
He explains that living each moment completely, without holding back, without compromise, without postponing joy or meaning or connection, means you will not have to fear death. If you are truly living fully, embracing every facet of your existence right now, then when death comes, there's nothing left to fear losing in the same way. There's no huge backlog of unexperienced longing, nothing essential left undone. It can become a more natural, perhaps even graceful transition within the larger mysterious flow of life.
Living fully as the preparation for dying well.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And conversations with God adds this profound philosophical, almost existential layer to this. It states, quite startlingly, you are creating God.
We are creating God. How?
Well, it's not about literally conjuring a deity in the sky. It's a profound reframe. It means our very existence, our moment-to-moment choices, our conscious engagement with life, that is the fabric through which the divine or source or consciousness manifests and understands itself in this dimension, in this reality.
Okay.
It suggests that you are always at choice as to how God will be created now. Your grandest wish, and perhaps God's grandest desire for you, is for you to experience yourself as the part of me you are.
Experience ourselves as divine.
Yes, which means every conscious choice to live fully, without resistance, every embrace of life's flow, every act of love or compassion, it's an active, ongoing act of co-creation, bringing the divine into manifest reality through you. It elevates the mundane, everyday choices to the sacred.
That's a big perspective shift.
It is. So to bring this all back to you, our listener, this invites us to deeply consider, how would your daily life fundamentally change if you truly lived each moment with the vivid awareness that it could potentially be your last? Not out of fear or morbidity, but out of a profound, liberating desire to fully experience and embrace every facet of it, the joy, the challenge, the beauty, the pain, the learning, everything. How might this perspective fundamentally shift your priorities, your relationships, your entire engagement with the world around you?
It's a question that, when you really ponder it, it could ignite a lifetime of profound exploration and truly awaken living. Wow, what an incredible journey we've taken together today on the deep dive. We've truly immersed ourselves, haven't we, in the intricate landscape of the mind, acknowledging that often incessant inner voice, recognizing the powerful role our emotions play, physically and mentally, and seeing how the ego's, its cunning agenda can subtly lead us away from our true power and connection.
And then we shifted, didn't we, to explore these practical yet profound ways to actually cultivate presence through that art of watching our thoughts without getting tangled in them.
Yeah, non-participation.
Embracing radical acceptance of our inner reality, our outer reality, what is, and consciously tuning into our inner body as this tangible, powerful gateway to just deeper being.
Yeah. We've seen how releasing the grip of past pain can open us up to a more vibrant, unburdened life, and how our capacity for love can genuinely expand to encompass this sense of universal oneness.
And finally, we touched upon how even the ultimate mystery of death can transform, moving from being a source of fear into potentially a profound teacher, guiding us to live more fully, more vibrantly in every single now.
It all brings us back, I think, to this really interesting thought. What if the greatest work we can possibly do in our lives isn't really about doing more or acquiring more or achieving more, but about simply being more, right here, right now?
It's a simple thought, isn't it? Yet utterly revolutionary, and it really underpins all these profound teachings we have explored. So, to help you embody this presence, maybe to truly feel the essence of being more, let's conclude our deep dive today with a simple, yet I think profound awareness exercise. It's directly inspired by Eckhart Tolle's teachings on feeling the inner body. This is really an invitation to experience, not just, understand intellectually.
Okay, so if you're able to, maybe find a comfortable position wherever you are right now. Just allow your body to gently relax. If it feels right for you and safe, you might gently close your eyes or perhaps just soften your gaze downwards.
And just take a few deep, conscious breaths, maybe feeling your breath moving into your lower abdomen, just observing how it gently expands with each inhale and softly contracts with each exhale. There's no need to force anything at all. Just allow the natural rhythm of your breath to unfold.
Now, gently expand your awareness to include the entire inner energy field of your body. Don't try to think about it or visualize it too hard. Simply feel it. Just allow your attention to rest within the subtle, maybe vibrant sensations of your body's energy field. Perhaps you feel a tingling somewhere, or a warmth, maybe a subtle hum, or just a general sense of aliveness, however faint.
And if you find it helpful, you can intentionally let go of any visual images or mental concepts you might still be holding about your physical body's shape or appearance. Just focus exclusively on the feeling of this inner energy, this aliveness.
And if you can, perhaps allow yourself to go even deeper into that feeling, maybe letting go of any mental image you still have of your distinct physical form with its boundaries. What's left then? Maybe just an all-encompassing sense of presence, or what Tolle calls beingness. In this state, the inner body might be felt as being without a strict boundary, perhaps extending beyond your physical form, like a boundless field of pure awareness.
Now, gently take your attention even more deeply into that subtle yet profound feeling. Begin to become one with it, if that feels right. Allow yourself to merge with this energy field, dissolving any perceived duality between you, the observer, and your body, the observed. In this merging, the distinction between inner and outer also begins to soften, maybe revealing an expansive, unified field of consciousness.
And just stay in this realm of pure being for as long as feels comfortable and natural for you right now. Allow yourself to simply rest in this presence. No need to do anything.
And when you feel ready, very, very gradually begin to bring your awareness back towards your physical body. Maybe feeling your breath returning to its more usual rhythm, noticing any physical sensations around you, and slowly, gently bring your awareness back to your physical senses.
And when you feel complete, whenever that is, gently open your eyes if they were closed. Maybe look at your surroundings for a few moments in a soft, meditative way, without mentally labeling what you see, while continuing to feel perhaps that inner presence, that subtle aliveness within you.
Just remember, cultivating presence isn't really a destination you arrive at and stay forever. It's more like a continuous journey, a gentle returning again and again. Each moment is a fresh, new invitation to awaken in the now. We sincerely hope this deep dive has offered you some valuable tools, perhaps some profound insights, and maybe a renewed sense of possibility for your own unique path.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the extraordinary richness of the present moment.